Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm too loud. Is that better?
Nice, like steel, just like pounding at the bloody preamp. Just.
No. That must be better now.
It's not better. It's nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
But I turned the gain. Hello?
No, it's still clipping.
Oh, wait, it's this one. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
So this is my sound check. I'm going super close.
That's clipping.
Hello? Hello. Oh, I don't think I'm going to be super close the whole time. I'm going to be like this. Is that really quiet?
It's all right, but sometimes you do get out really close and you like start.
Yeah.
Just don't do that. Just try and keep it at a constant distance.
Well, sometimes it's needed.
Yeah, but you just degrade the audio quality when you do that, don't you? Just put more effort on me.
Me.
All I want to do is finish the podcast and load in the things. I don't even want to get rid of noise anymore. I used to take the noise out, which it's not that hard to do with the right tools, but it just takes a while to process, especially when it's a 2-hour long piece of audio. So
What episode are we on?
Episode 9. It's your turn.
Yeah, we didn't even shill the last podcast.
Nah, yeah, we didn't.
We just uploaded it and didn't do an Instagram post. We say shill, that's as far as it's gone, is every time we do an Instagram post. And I'm thinking we should include our faces. We should call to action. We should summon the troops.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have many followers, so I mean...
Well, don't say that about yourself, mate.
No, it's not that I don't even want followers. Like, I'd rather not.
I know. That is true.
I was talking about this with Dad today, and like my Instagram feed, like I don't use Twitter anymore. I do use Twitter. I use Twitter to retweet. There's like 3 people that I retweet all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't post it. I don't post my own stuff. I sometimes reply to a thread of one of those 3 people.
This is interesting because I've looked at your Instagram feed recently, just to see. Like, it's just interesting because I think everyone has a filter of how much they share on Instagram and of how much they glorify their life through their display of what they choose to post or anything.
Yeah.
And it's interesting looking at people who really try hard on Instagram and people who don't, and sometimes people you wouldn't expect try hard at Instagram. But I thought, like, I was just thinking to myself, I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't think he really sits there thinking like, oh, I should be posting this, I should be posting that. It's quite a natural feed. It's just good photos of things that were worth posting. So I thought it was quite good.
Yeah, I basically use it like I use Instagram like, well, not even. I guess just sometimes I just feel in the mood to go, I'll post that.
Yeah.
Or like I'll take a picture and post it. Like I don't know.
I think that's a good level. I do have some other social media things, so I guess we should cue the music. But before that,
do you have a drink?
Is it me? I do. I just got water.
Oh.
Yeah, I might get some wine halfway through.
Well, I've got a bit of a disclaimer because Dad's cooking bread at the moment. So at some point, maybe half an hour time, I have to go get a bit of that bread.
Gonna go and get some bread when it's just out of the oven.
Yeah, well, it's out of the oven now, but it's cooling.
Does he use a bread maker?
No.
No,
it doesn't even use yeast. Well, he does use yeast, but he grows his own yeast. It's really good. It's really good, man. Like, my brother got my dad into this. It's quite popular in the States and in Ireland, well, all over really, and sort of Europe in some parts. But you basically grow your own yeast because there's natural yeast that's in the air. So and it's called starter. And instead of using instant yeast, once you've got a yeast culture going, You just use that as a replacement for yeast, and it does wonders for your stomach. Like, you know, when you eat bread sometimes, and afterwards you feel like not necessarily bloated, but that sort of feeling of like heaviness. And you're just like, oh, with this bread, you don't get that. It's just like, oh, your gut's like, wow, wow. And it also helps cleaning out your bowels.
Oh, really? Cue the music. Hello and welcome to the Just Swim cast, the podcast entirely devoted to the furthering of our species through talk and discussion. This is episode 9, and my name's Tim.
My name's Woody.
Oh, my heart got racing there because I was forgetting the intro whilst doing it.
You know what?
I thought of all the viewers listening. I was just like, almost choked.
Yeah, all 12 of them.
Almost choked.
Well, I think I'm gonna go. I like as much as I mean, I'm gonna just, actually. I'm not gonna say it. There's no point. There's no point saying it because otherwise, if I say it, then it's not gonna be a thing. So I'm just gonna stay stum about it.
What's not going to be a thing?
Well, I can't tell you.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, well,
am I leading with my amazing topic then, which is kind of linked into what you were just saying, which was a question of how much do you care about the way you look, in particular clothes and fashion, but also on social media. So I kind of wanted to go through a journey of all of those things, starting with clothes, which isn't necessarily the same thing as fashion.
Well, before I get into that, and you might have to repeat that question, just a bit of gossip. Just to kick us off. I mean, it's not really gossip. It's just a congratulations, I suppose, to Holly that we both used to work with. I think her and her boyfriend purchased their recent a new house recently.
People making moves now.
Yeah, and I followed her new Holly's Homes or whatever it is. I can't remember what it's called.
Someone I know's made one of those as well.
And I can't wait for the feed to start coming in about all the decor. It's going to be great.
Yeah. So we will leave a link in the description to pimp out. Woody will fetch that link and then you can watch someone's house grow, which is cool, especially for the rent trap generation. Well done. Clothes. What clothes do you wear and how much do you care? And how has that journey changed since you were 15 to now?
I've never been a real I've never been that into clothes that much. The only things that I would spend some money on would be
jacket and jeans.
Jackets, not even jeans. I don't even see the point in spending money on jeans.
Yeah, I've always just top man jeans. I don't even.
I'd just get Primark jeans, mate.
It upsets me to remember how many of my lives and days have been spent wearing skinny jeans when I was growing up. Like, I look at the jeans. I still have some of them in my cupboard now.
Yeah.
And every time I go for my jeans, I just get the same baggy pair of jeans out. Just like, yeah, this is where it's at now.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's interesting, though, isn't it? Because you do care at some stage in your life. I mean, I used to really care. Like,
I don't think I ever cared. I don't think I ever cared.
I had a gold shiny bag at one point, you know.
Yeah.
Fucking gut. It's right here. It's like a gold brick that I'd carry around my back.
I was always full up with stuff as well. I don't even know what you had in that bag.
I still think I'm a legend for putting out there. Do you know what? Carrying a bag, like I miss that. The amount of times like I've just like pocket fumble, leave things around. Like I feel like if you have a bag, you're like, if you have a bag when you leave somewhere, you remember to pack up that bag. Whereas when you have pockets and
what are you getting out of your bag? What?
You never know. Say I'm going around just to do some music. Got my headphones. Got
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Might
have a little fish magazine. You never know. Just carry some bits about you.
Carry some bits.
That's what you got to do in this world. You got to, we're just here to collect things, aren't we? And if you can't carry them on your person,
well, it's interesting you say that because we're in the sort of process of just like really criticizing everything that we've got. I think it's kind of like what
that
you're
you
saying.
Own.
Yeah.
But this is what we said last time. This is what we're talking about, the idea of like less is more. And with my house move in the future, I keep thinking like, what am I actually going to take? Looking at all of this crap around me and just thinking, like, I love my display setup with 2 monitors, my PC, but it just feels dirty. I feel like I've just used it so much. Like, I just, everything in this place just, are we going to keep anything? The TV, yeah. The TV can come with us. The old TV machine, can't not have one.
The important things to take are all of the memorabilia, cutlery, and all the cooking equipment.
Yeah.
And the expensive items. Everything else you can
Even
just
that
sort of.
though, I was drinking a mug of tea. And I
Well,
was
if you're going to
like,
get
I
rid
don't
of some
like.
screens, I'll happily take them off you.
I was thinking of like painting them white or something stupid.
Oh, Jesus.
I know I've hit that level. Everything needs to be painted white at this point in my life. I'm like, oh,
I know.
seeking clarity.
I know, yeah. We just painted Dad's new room all white. It's nearly done now.
Really?
And it looks really good. And the good thing
Wow.
about it is,
You should do that with more of your house.
yeah, we are. We've got like 5 big gallon tubs of white paint, and we're just going to go through the whole because I was
Imagine
thinking
varnishing that bookshelf with white paint behind it.
it's fake wood. It's not real wood.
Oh, I thought it was.
It's just veneer. It's just shitty veneer.
Yeah, well, still.
Anyway, the white walls. You go in there and it's like really refreshing. All it needs is some green plants.
Yeah.
And it will just like, I just feel like going to be relaxed in there, nice and bright. It feels like a big room because it's, white.
Yeah.
I've
been looking at plants for the house, but also I want to do more gardening, and I've been looking at growing vegetables. And I think I'm going to do an allotment and like.
I feel like we've
do.
gone off track of the question that you had. I feel like
vegetables, fashion, it's all the same.
It's all the same, yeah. It's all the
same. But yeah, so how much did you care about your appearance on social media? It's an interesting thing. When you take a picture, you're normally like, well, I've got a bogey in that one, so I'm not going to post that. Oh yeah, I look great in this. The light's shining off my face, just perfect. I guess there's a little level of a slider that everyone has, to the point where some people use filters, and I remember that stage when everyone like the girls would share their like Snapchat photos with that like puppy face on their face.
Oh Jesus!
And it's like, it was really weird because it was almost like, I think some girls would use that because they prefer, like, they just wanted to hide their face.
Yeah, yeah.
And it just makes me really sad that there's like that much scrutiny over one's reflection like happening around everyone. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I never had it though. I've never been like, actually, when I was younger, I used to think I was an ugly bastard. And I used to think that about myself quite a lot, because that was just my position that I had in primary school. I wasn't like a popular kid. Even though primary school, you don't really have that, but do you know what I mean? Like, there's still a kind of hierarchy in the class. And I never felt like I was up there because I had like this dry skin and everything. Everyone was like, why is that flaky kid? What's he doing? Krusty the Snowman.
Oh, Jesus.
But then obviously, puberty, and I matured into the flower that I was. And it was all fine.
I mean, I guess I did care a little bit in school.
You have to.
Yeah.
I just thought the other day about, when we went to the skate park for that vlog.
Oh, yeah.
You just had your haircut. And I was trying to think to myself, I was like, he hasn't had his haircut in ages. Right.
Yeah, it's nice getting your haircut. I'd do the haircut for me, really.
Do you know what the best thing is? It's the first time you have a shower and you get out and you don't just have that scraggly...
Oh, that's what I'm dealing with at the moment.
Smush of hair.
Oh, you've no idea.
Lanking around. Yours must be awful now. Isn't yours longer than... Is Ollie's longer than yours?
No, Ollie's got a full head of hair, mate. It's all the way down to his arse, I think.
Really?
It's I have some sort of... So I have some... I have a strong level of empathy for girls when it comes to hair and getting in the shower and getting out and dealing with the hair.
It's mad, yeah.
Because if it's not if you don't dry it, or you don't, I don't know, it's like it just sticks to the back of your neck, and you're like, oh, just get off my
Yeah.
neck, like, oh,
Shirt's getting all wet.
yeah. It's just like they just deal with it, and it's incredible. But yeah, I don't think. I mean, I guess I did care a little bit. My fashion sense wasn't all that good, and I never spent more than £10 on a piece of clothing, unless it was a jacket or shoes. Um,
But
and
then if you were to go back 50 years and there was like, in America, they're going down to the boardwalk for the old drinks, the whiskey and dancing and stuff, nice jazz music. Um, they'd all be dressed up quite nice. And if they were having a photo taken, the girls would probably, just like the guys would, be wanting to like stand up straight and look their best.
yeah.
So I guess the idea of portraying your life in the best possible light is just,
Has always been there.
almost survival instinct.
So there was a really good thing about this kind of topic, um, about how you can. I think it was an article that I read. It was like a shitty article, like most articles these days. And it was how to tell if you are middle class. And it had this one little line that I'll try and quote as best as I can. It said, "Poor people purchase expensive clothes and wear them, like and expensive cars and things like that, so that they can outwardly show that they have, a pretend amount of money. Middle class people, they buy expensive underwear and leave their curtains open for you to see in and look at the expensive underwear." It's an analogy. Don't take it for literal. But does that make sense? And it doesn't just mean underwear. It means like, expensive TV that's inside the house, like good decoration. And you look inside a middle class house and you go, yeah, that's a comfortable life.
Yeah.
Whereas the poor people, all you see is the things that they show you.
Mm.
I don't really know why
The
I said that.
accessories to life.
Yeah, the accessories. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never really been either of those things, so I don't really know what I am. The things that I put money into are things that I enjoy. So that being like a lot of the old studio equipment, and even then, I don't spend a lot of money. I'm quite reasonable, I think, compared to some.
Well, you pay, you know when you're getting your money's worth, I think. So it's kind of like, that's another thing, is the level of, there's so many things you could pay for and not actually be getting a product that is worth that amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that comes into it mostly. I do have more on social media, which is an interesting thing that I saw, which is that footballers are calling for social media platforms to remove anonymity. I probably can't say that correctly. Yeah. But to remove, so you'd have to like essentially KYC to social media, and you'd like be obviously tweeting from your alias, which is Tim.
And why do they want to do that?
So the reason it's come about is because after every football game, you get a barrage of tweets online that are like normal, like, oh, this person's awful, this person's awful. But I reckon around 10 to 15%, I was just grabbing a number out of my estimate, are racist towards like black footballers or I guess anyone. They're racist, basically.
And what do they hope to achieve?
Well, they want to remove this abuse. But this is
what?
Like, so
I know. What?
They want to try and achieve people not being racist because they believe that it's because you can be anonymous. It's so easy to throw out a racist comment and not be held accountable.
Right.
But if it was like your personal name and you said something racist, then they'd just send the police around your house and be like, you can't do that. But the problem I have here is I'm almost astounded that this is a conversation, because
If they don't
people
want,
don't understand the value of the questions and the things that they're actually asking for, and they don't think of the repercussions of what
exactly,
this means. They
yeah,
just think of their problems. And there is, yeah, I'm sure it must be awful after you've just lost a football match to log on and see someone being racist to you on Twitter.
yeah,
But at some level, and I feel like I can't speak about this because no one's really been racist to me, ever, I don't think, because I'm a white boy. But um, if I was to estimate, I feel like if someone was being racist to me, like if they said something to my face, or if they called me up, or like if it was proper, like, do you know what I mean? There'd be a level of how much it would affect me. But if I was famous and I knew that racism is in the world, and I have like 1 million followers on all these platforms and all this stuff, and I do catch the limelight, is it not just a reflection of the world that some people are racist? And yeah, we need to change that. But it doesn't mean that you can necessarily just throw out the fact that people actually value their like
freedom of speech.
privilege of not having to um, you know, reveal their identity online. And not even so much about free speech, but just the idea of like, yeah, I don't want to tweet from my personal account, because there's so many reasons to that as to why you don't want to do that, and why you shouldn't
Yeah,
have to do that. And also why social media platforms will never say yes, because it would entirely change your interaction with that platform.
yeah,
Entirely.
and they would
Just
not
to the
make,
point,
yeah, yeah,
people just chat shit on Twitter, and the reason they do it is because they're called Baba Grizz or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And it's not just racists, it's people who are just doing their everyday life and don't want to say, they escape from life, they escape from themselves sometimes just by creating a random name and being that person.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting. There's one thing that you said there, and I was going to ask a question about. Well, not ask a question, but it seems like for you, there's a level at which you're privileged enough. You believe some people are privileged enough that they shouldn't even bother about. Uh,
I think they should bother about it, but I think that
well, I don't think they should. Like my
the
response, if
what
I'm
well,
Twitter,
no, but they can feel it. They can feel the problem. Yeah, if someone's racist, it sucks. Yeah, if you see racist abuse and you're the person, no matter how rich you are and how good your life is, it sucks. Okay, it's
yeah,
not as good as seeing like, oh, great game, you did great, mate. It's just that's bad.
yeah.
But they
Well,
should also understand that it shouldn't be a public narrative that we're discussing, because we've got bigger issues.
there are bigger, yeah, 100. Well, yeah, there are bigger
Racism is a
issues.
huge issue.
Yeah,
Tackling racism, huge issue. And I understand that that's part of the narrative. That's basically all we ever speak about as a species, is how to cure racism. That's the stem of everything. Yeah.
yeah,
People not liking the idea of you're different than me. And that's something that as a species we never figured out.
no,
Uh, I think
and I don't think we
I was
ever
reading
will.
today something that said if we were dogs, we would all be the same breed. But we sit there and we're like, it's the smallest differences in our identity as different like
Yeah.
cultures and stuff like that. I don't know.
So if I was Twitter, and the problem is Twitter is so like Twitter's senior management are so fucking liberal. It's unbelievable. But anyway, so they may end up doing that, or they may end up doing something about it. They'll at least send an apology letter to someone. Fucking hell. Which they shouldn't do. But if
Yeah,
I was Twitter and Football Association come to me and said, we believe that we need to stop racism by bloody bloody blah, stop anonymity, I would go, if I was Twitter, I'd say this, look, don't use Twitter. Like, if you're not happy with it, don't use it.
yeah,
Don't go on it. It's your choice to be offended by
yeah,
what people say.
yeah,
People will be offensive, and you can't get rid of that. You can't get rid of, like, there are so many people. It's like 20% of the world is racist, maybe more. Like, there's, what is there, 9 billion people. So at least a billion, at least, what's that, 500 million. Wait, is a billion a real billion or is it fake billion? billion is 1,000 million, but it's not, because a real billion is a million. Anyway, that's another story. But
So,
that's what I would say. Just don't
you
use
know,
it.
you just said that the Twitter people are massive lefties. Yeah.
Mm.
So I don't know if you've seen it, but if anyone hasn't, you should definitely go out there and watch the Joe Rogan episode 1258, which is Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, Vinaya Gadi, who is the global lead for legal policy and trust and safety at Twitter. And Tim Pool, and of course Joe Rogan. And on that episode, they basically shoot shit and talk about the different cases where Vinaya and her team, if I'm saying that name wrong, sorry, are basically reviewing all of these different cases that have been sent up to the top of their ethics teams to review if they should ban this person or take different actions if it's against their policies.
Right.
And the problem at every junction of the road is that there were two problems, which is that one, that problems were being escalated by people who worked at Twitter or a certain type of people who roam the internet looking for these things, raising issues to the top. And that what Tim and Joe were saying is the problem is that if you're fishing and recruiting leftist people, and if your company is running a leftist ideology, then the cases that you have sent to the top are gonna be of that culture.
Yeah.
Because if someone was, for example, to have a problem with something from the right hand side, there wouldn't be that person to stand up and say, "Hey, have you looked at this? Have you seen that this guy needs a strike?"
Yeah.
And it's such a leftist thing to say, "Oh, this guy needs a strike. He's being naughty." So there became this sort of like they were going through all these cases. And then the second problem is that when it gets to the top end of the case, which is where they have to decide how many policies have been broken, it's essentially a human judgment. And there's a team of like three of them sat there like, well, in this case, we thought it was because of this. And it's like, well, yeah, you thought. Like,
Yeah.
define what you thought on this
Yeah.
occasion
What gives you
that
the
was
right?
different to this occasion.
Yeah.
And they
Exactly.
compared a load of occasions. And the answer she could give is like, well, this is where we came to. Like, and it's not perfect. And it's like, yeah, it's not perfect. So if it's not
at all.
perfect, don't do
Don't
it.
do it. Yeah.
Because you're not going to suddenly find a way that it becomes better. Your acting creates a reaction, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is the reason why the company has evolved into this state is because they don't want negative press. They don't want they don't want see the thing is what seems to happen in the world at the moment is you've got two extremes, like extreme right and extreme left. And it appears that a lot of the younger generation, especially in the United States, and this comes through their education system, mainly universities, where everybody is a butterfly, delicate butterfly, and needs to be handled with care, like a glass artifact. So a lot of young people born from maybe 2000 onwards are extreme left leaning, and they're probably a large proportion of Twitter's base. So when Twitter analyzed the sentiment of the user base, it's left. And if they do something if they end up being extreme right wing, they're gonna lose like everyone. They're gonna they become nothing. So they have to. It's kind of clear and self-evident that they've become left-leaning because that's what their user base is. But it's not, and obviously they don't want the negative press around it. Any negative press, they avoid negative press like the plague. So I think recently, maybe last year, Twitter donated $1 million to a charity, a trust called CPJ, who they're a charity or a trust foundation, whatever they call it in the States, where they advocate for press freedom. And there was a bit of a battle going on. I think it's similar things are going on in Australia right now with Google and whatnot. That Twitter should pay for the news that is being spread on their platform, which I think is complete bullshit. And me and my dad had a huge discussion about this. In that Twitter's just a platform for people to post. If somebody happens to post a news article that's available on the internet, that's not Twitter's fault. Like, Twitter can't do anything about it. And some people may say, well, Twitter has the trending news section. I'm like, well, but all that is an analysis of what people are talking about on Twitter. And they're just pushing those up the top. They're not publishing any. Anyway, that's a separate story. I can go into that maybe another time. But Twitter donated $1 million to a charity called CPJ, who advocate for press freedom. And that was a response to Twitter being attacked by the media for not paying for the news. And that was Twitter's way of shushing the news and journalism industry by just going, look, there you go, $1 million. I can't remember why I was talking about that, but
do you rate Jack Dorsey?
No.
So one thing that upsets me is I see these CEOs, and I'll exclude Elon Musk from this one because I think he's a bit different. But I see them, and a lot of the time, I always have this feeling of I wish they were more than they are. I always have this expectation that the person who, we do it in films and everything like that, the person who invents XYZ is just like this super intelligent person. But it seems like most of them are one-trick ponies in the sense that they have this thing. And I know he's got a load of different companies and everything like that.
Yeah.
But maybe some people just have the ability to create, but then not to maintain or to nurture. And what I mean by that is, I just think someone like Jack Dorsey, I think you actually wake up in every day with the potential to change the world and to make it great. And every opportunity I see of these people, it's like they're all so focused on these small issues and not really trying to figure out the answers in their company for XYZ reasons, shareholders and this, that, and the other,
exactly.
trying to make more money.
Exactly.
And I'm just like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why, man? Why? And he seems so. I just think you've got to step up and make things work and actually give a shit.
And there are a few people in the world. Elon probably being one of them. Bill Gates is another. I mean, he's not the CEO of Microsoft anymore.
I also want to ask you, what do you think of Bill Gates?
Bill Gates.
I have this problem that we give him this stage. So what? Bill Gates did this XYZ, yeah, and then at every opportunity when something happens in the world or anything's going on, here's what Bill Gates thinks about it. What? You just get to buy social narrative. Is that just how it goes? Just get
I don't think he's bought it. I think he's earned it. I think it's well earned.
I don't know.
You don't think so? You don't think that you don't think that without, imagine if Windows never existed. What sort of a world would we be in? Basically 100% of the NHS runs off of Windows XP. I'm not saying that there wouldn't be something to replace it, but
we'd just be doing something else. We'd be doing something else.
Maybe. But I think
guy made computers, made loads of money, piped down, and stopped trying to save the world because.
Well, without him,
he's not even doing it in the right way. A lot of the stuff he suggests is, I'm just I
don't know. He's done a lot since he stopped being the CEO of Microsoft. The only thing that he's been dedicated to is the Gates Foundation, which do a lot for third world countries and viruses. He basically defeated malaria in Africa.
Right, but why?
Single-handedly.
Why doesn't he just why doesn't he just like?
What
I
do you
might
want
just
from
be
him?
shooting myself in the foot here, but it's like, why do you still have to be Bill Gates? Why don't you just go on a beach and then put all of your money into those things and let younger people who are, studying those specific fields do it, rather than be the face of it all and like, oh, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing
I
this.
think that's a disservice to him. I disagree with you
I've
there.
had this. Do you know what? I've had this feeling of like over the last few weeks, like throughout this whole coronavirus thing, when he was talking about like the vaccines, and I was like, this just like, oh, I think it's just
I think
anger
it's
that we're here,
fatigue. I
maybe.
think it's
And I've
fatigue. Yeah,
I've I've put it on. I've put it on Bill Gates there.
put it
So,
all on Bill.
oh, Bill, if you're listening, mate, like, thanks for Windows. You're all right. All right, send me a check.
I don't know. Like, I think he. There might be some people in the world, especially India, and that's not racist. He does a lot of work in India with vaccines, and I think gives away grants for software engineering, maybe. And I think he might even have like a university set up there. But there's probably a lot of like young people, maybe my age, maybe a bit younger, that in those countries that he's done a lot of work in, that maybe look up to him, and maybe they will become the next Bill Gates in air quotes. You don't know.
Mm.
I think he's still relevant. I think he's worth listening to. I think he's got, not only has he got the experience of building a company, but I don't know if you know about the original Windows, which was Microsoft DOS. But I think basically in 2 years, 70% or 80% of all the computers in the world were MS DOS. Like, that's insane. Like, he's got some experience, he's got some knowledge, he's got some wisdom. He might be an old git now. I don't think
But
he
if he
is.
hadn't existed, wouldn't the next person who would have just made that computer software that everyone used be Bill Gates?
A world without Bill
Isn't it
Gates.
just like, I can't be Bill Gates because the computer was already made?
Well, the next successor would probably be Linus Torvald, whatever his name is.
Was he the Linux one?
He's Linux. Well, he's not Linux. He just writes he maintains the Linux kernel, which everything else is built off.
Right.
Or Steve Jobs, who did Apple, macOS.
I saw something cool, which was why didn't they call the chargers juice, and then they could be called Apple Juice?
Chargers.
Apple phone
Oh,
chargers.
yeah. That's good. I like that.
Brilliant. You said fatigue earlier, which is an interesting topic because Canary Wharf owner, boss guy is saying Howard Dwabber, head of strategy, has been saying to the press that people are feeling a fatigue from working from home. The people are tired from working at home. They're feeling fatigue. We've got to a point where there's a lot of fatigue out there. Working from home for the first few couple of months, well, yeah, that's great when the sun was shining. But now people are feeling like they thought it was going to be more of a short-term thing. And that people really miss being in the office, getting their hair cut, going for a coffee at lunchtime, and just doing all the things that you can do in the city centre.
So your tone of voice on this sounds like you're in complete disagreement with him.
I get that there will be people. I get it, yeah. But all I see is like
It is nice,
someone
though.
who used to get loads of money from running offices.
Oh, yeah.
The bells are ringing. They're like, we need to get some people back.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just incredible that like the BBC is running this right now. Like it's just
well, they're part
it's
of
literally
it.
just paid ads.
Yeah.
It's a paid ad.
It's a paid ad, yeah.
It's fine to get back to work. Everyone wants to get back to work. Social narrative start talking about, oh, I just love to have an office like coffee. It's going to be great.
Yeah,
Like,
and
said no one. All of the comments on
Inception.
Twitter were just like,
Fuck off.
yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Like, picture of people like sipping a cocktail in the garden. Like, dude, I think everyone's fine. And I think that's the best thing we've probably discovered about COVID is that everybody's fine working from home. And sure, if you want to have social working, then that's fine. There will be that. I'm sure WeWorks will pop up all over the place.
Exactly.
And people will just rent, like, you know,
For
a
an
little bit
hour or
less
two.
space.
Yeah.
And you'll just pop in for things. And when you do, it'll be nice.
And the good
Like,
thing about all of this is if it does stay this way, if a lot of companies, I mean, even Dad's Charity have gone completely officeless, like completely officeless now. And they don't
Yeah.
plan on, it's just a cost, right? It's just like, I don't know how much square footage area is now in London, but I presume that it's fallen massively over the last year, which is a good thing because it means that they're going to have to repurpose all that office space,
that's going to
most
turn
likely
into like
into flats.
apartments and stuff.
Yeah, which hopefully
that people might actually live in instead of just invest in.
Yeah, well, let's hope that
Fingers crossed.
Sadiq Khan can stop the Chinese like Boris didn't.
Yeah. Let's hope that Sadiq can.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
I'm here all day.
So anyway, talking about money and houses and things like that, there was a topic that I brought to this podcast, which was, and I'm sure you've probably been following what the old Chancellor has been stirring up in the mix of the newspapers about his new budget that he'll be announcing this year for the UK. One of the points being that there's a possibility that he will increase corporation tax from 19% to 25%. Now, when I saw this article that I was reading about his new budget, the rumors about his new budget, which when rumors occur in Number 10, they're not rumors, they're forcefully put out. Like they say, look, go to the BBC, like just telling like an office staff, just like, can you just go to the BBC and just tell them that, like, here's a bit of, like, just slip them a bit of news. Just slip them a bit of what we're going on in the budget. But anyway, so it's all planned. The whole strategy of announcing budgets has been totally refined down to a T. But I immediately thought when I saw this corporation tax increase is, why do corporations get such a relaxed tax legislation compared to income tax? Why isn't corporation tax bracketed like income taxes? Because, and here's the backup for this, is there's a law, or there was a case, Solomon v. Solomon, which basically stipulates that a limited liability company is a separate entity / person than the owners / directors of the business itself. So if a company gets taken to court, the liability of the people running it is limited, hence limited liability. So somebody could sue the company, but they can't sue the people running the company. So it's considered a legal person's in its own right. Therefore, why is it not on the same tax bracketing system as regular income tax? Now, I don't know. I'm not sure I know any like economist graduates, but it would be a good thing to sort of ask them. Well, if anyone does know, not that we probably have any economist graduates listening to this podcast, but maybe in the future, someday we'll listen back and they'll go, "Oh, that's interesting." Blah, 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 blah. What would be the repercussions of having a cutoff date and saying, right, from now on, here's the tax brackets for corporation tax. If you earn under this amount, if the profit is under this amount, then you pay this. If your profit is up to this amount, you pay this, and it's bracketed exactly the way income tax is. Maybe even has the same brackets. So for us, I think it's, what is it? You get £14,000 tax free. Then anything over that, up to £20,000, is 20%, and something like that. What if corporations had the same thing? All corporations would be paying 40% tax. Now, here comes the problem, because what will happen is all of the companies would leave the UK if you did that. Because they'll go, fuck that, I'm not paying 40% corporation tax in the UK. So you would need some kind of law to say that if you are, and I guess it's the same as income tax. So I recently paid a shitload of tax to HMRC, which I think I can claim back, actually, now that I've had a few people go through it.
Was that your Doobs tax?
Me dubs tax, yeah.
Was that the UK stealing your money or the Dubs?
UK. There is no tax in Dubai.
So, isn't it? Oh, you've been working abroad? Have some of that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, the
It's
laws...
like you're coming back in the country and they frisk you down.
Well, here's the thing, and the reason why I think I can claim tax back, or claim that money back, is...
Because it's yours?
Well, it is mine, but the student loan company massively increased the rates for me to repay when I was working abroad.
Really?
Yeah, like massively.
I don't even know how to log in and see how much I've paid.
Well, they send me letters now.
Do they really?
Yeah, they sent... Oh, well, that's because I've been avoiding them, really.
I wonder how much I've paid off.
You probably haven't... was you the lucky one that got, like, fuck all... how much was your tuition? Was it £9 grand?
We were the first year to get fucked. It went up to £8 grand a year or whatever.
Mine was £9 grand a year.
Yeah. No, like £8 grand was the minimum, but most of them were between
right.
8 and 12.
Yeah.
I don't know what mine was, but good old drama degree, worth every penny. It was good though, because when you missed a lecture, you knew that you'd just spent like what, 450 quid.
Yeah.
Just like sitting there playing FIFA.
The thing is so the way that the PAYE system works and the way student loan is calculated on your income. When I was over here earning, I think I was earning £33,000, which wasn't a lot really. I say that, but I guess it is a lot for some people. I wasn't even paying off the interest. I wasn't even paying off the interest that they had put on it. So every month I would be paying student loan. And it would be getting bigger. My amount that I owed gets bigger, even though I'm paying it off.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's completely ridiculous. So I've just given up now. I've literally just given up. I'm not paying a single. I'm going to try and stay self-employed for the rest of my life, and ideally not pay a single penny to them.
Yeah, just die with it.
Yeah. Well, after 30 years, they wipe it anyway, so I'm just counting down those years.
You're joking.
Hmm.
Wait, so
30 years after your graduation date.
Can I choose not to pay it?
No, you're on PAYE, so it comes automatically out.
Can I opt out of PAYE?
You'd have to renegotiate your contract, and you'd have to become a contractor with the business, which means it's a bit more of a headache to do you'd have to do your own tax return, blah, 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 blah. They wouldn't do it. A company in the UK wouldn't
It's
let you do
madness,
that.
though. It's like 300 quid a month or something, isn't it?
You wouldn't get any.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It is. It costs £300 a month. I think my student loan, something like that.
Yeah,
Madness.
something like that. So yeah. Anyway, that was a short rant about a student loans company. I think I can claim tax back, and I'll get back to the idea that corporations should be paying the same tax as individuals do, because in law they are considered their own individuality. What the repercussions are of that, I don't know. If it happens that you implement a legislation like that and all the companies leave, all the big companies would most likely leave, because the small companies can't really leave. Like, the small shop down the road that pays corporation tax, it's not going to move because it's a shop. But all the big companies, like maybe Top Shop, would probably leave. But fuck them. Like, I thought about it, and yeah, you'd probably get a load of big businesses leave, but all that does is restarts everyone, allows smaller businesses to come up and start again.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad thing.
That's it. It's just the fear of losing power in between.
The thing that you would lose is jobs. So immediately you would lose a shit ton of jobs. But to combat that as a government, what you say is because that will be the threat that the people make. So before you implement that legislation, there'll be some lobbying by the businesses saying, "Oh, we don't want, we're going to leave. If you do this, we're going to leave, and we're going to go to Ireland and operate from Ireland." And you say, "Well, you can operate in Ireland if you want. Like, it doesn't bother us. But if you operate here, which is the same as what's classed as residency and domicile as an individual paying tax." So the reason why I paid tax on my Dubai money is because it's a bit loose in the law, but was still considered a resident and domiciled in the UK, which means I should pay tax in the UK, regardless of where I've earned it. And that's what you say to the businesses. You say, look, you can operate in Ireland if you want, but if you sell produce, or if you have a shop or a distribution center or something that shows your logo in this country, we will deem you as resident and will fine you if you do not pay the tax brackets that we've set out. And their threat will be, well, if you do this, you're going to lose 10,000 jobs immediately. And you go, well, I'll just borrow more money off of the International Monetary Fund to pay for that job loss. And they can't really argue with that, can they? Like, big businesses can't go, like they're just going to go, oh, yeah, that's true. Because that's all we do anyway. We just borrow money off of other countries to pay our debt. Anyway, there's another topic that I'd like to bring. Is there anything you want to comment on about that?
No, yeah, go.
I don't know if we talked about this already in the last podcast, maybe, but it's going to be another rant, I think, like what I just did.
We're going today because before you were going to go, I was going to go on a rant. But yeah,
okay. Well, do you want to have a go? Because I'm running out.
Because I feel like it's a rant that I don't want to do. So you do yours. You've saved me from it.
It's not really a rant, I guess. It's just
the rant cast.
Yeah. So I think we was talking about loans the other week. And I was saying that when you get a loan, like a mortgage or whatever, you're not just giving, like, you're not just bringing on debt, you're also paying interest, and you're handing away power. Now, I thought about this over the last week. Here's where the bullshit is, right? This is the privilege that banks have. So, and this is where interest comes from. So when banks, well, here's the question for you and the listener. When you go and borrow money for a house or an asset or just whatever, just from a bank, an established bank, do you actually think they have the numbers, like the actual cash sitting there to give to you? So you want to borrow £360,000. Do you actually think the bank has that £360
I
to
think it
give away?
works. I think it works like a casino. They have to have at least like X amount of a potential win that could occur every night,
It's
which they don't
worse.
expect to pay.
It's worse than that.
But that might just be my understanding from Ocean's 12.
It's worse than
So
that.
yeah,
What
probably
they
is.
do is they go on their computer and they type in 360, 000. They press enter. And what that enter button does essentially is they are borrowing money from the future.
Yeah.
They're saying to the world that this person, Tim, we're going to borrow money for him from the future because eventually he's going to pay that money back.
Yeah.
So we're going to borrow this £360,000 from the future. And in doing so, we're going to charge interest on that.
But that's why when everything falls down, the banks like slip through the middle of it,
Yeah.
and everything on either side gets fucked.
So essentially what's happening is they're just pulling money out of thin air, like out of their ass. They're just pulling money out of their ass, giving it to you and saying, look, you need to pay us interest on that because we've just pulled that from thin air. Like, what? It's fucking bullshit. And then that's what happened to Greece. Here's another thing. I don't know the full details of this, but I think I mentioned his name last week, a guy called Yanis Varoufakis. He's an economics professor. And at the time when Greece, a few years ago, was really in the shit with debt, he was one of the people that were talking to the rest of the European Union, trying to work out what to do about the issue of Greece's debt. So the resolution to this was that Deutsche Bank, which is a German bank, which had recently just been bailed out by the German people, were going to bail out Greece by essentially paying off their debt in return for interest.
So
right?
They borrowed from the future.
They essentially borrowed from the future. And
I want to start borrowing from the fucking future.
yeah, it'd be great, wouldn't it? And here's the more interesting thing about this whole situation is Deutsche Bank permitted that there would be targets for Greece to hit in terms of paying back the loan that they had plucked from thin air. And the reason why they had to put targets on it is because the German government had put targets on Deutsche Bank because they'd just been recently bailed out. And the German government said, look, if you're going to bail out Greece, you must have targets, because if you don't put targets on it and the people hear about this, we're fucked. Like, we're both fucked. They're just going to reject this idea. So Deutsche Bank said, all right, we'll put targets on it. They said, all right, to the German government, yeah, all right, we'll put some targets on it. They went to Greece. They spoke to various people, including Yanis Varoufakis, and said, we're going to bail you out, but here's the targets we're going to hit. And Greece, from the start of the negotiation, said, we will not hit the targets, and you know that we will not hit the targets. And Deutsche Bank said, yeah, we know. That's it.
Yeah.
So you've got a population that's bailed out a bank that's borrowing from the future and receiving interest on a loan that nobody can pay back. Like, this is the state of monetary... Like, this is why I really believe in financial freedom. Moving away from banks. Like, if there is ever an opportunity for me to not hold my money in a big bank that's backed by a government or backed by a government-backed currency, I will immediately do it. I just don't think the technology with cryptocurrency is quite there yet. I don't think the adoption is there quite yet, but as soon as it happens, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Because I do not trust what's going on underneath.
My problem with it all is I don't trust cryptocurrency to not just be a banker's whim. As in, like, who had the money over the last, 20 to 30 years? Like the financial people of the world did, didn't they?
Yeah. Which was
No one
plucked
knows.
from
No
thin
one
air.
knows who Satoshi is. So that's what I'd do. If I had all that money and I was like sitting there, but like, right, okay, so we're doing really good at this game. What card can we play that means that we don't have to ever play this game again because we can't stay on top forever? So how can we make a new financial system where
Yeah.
we are king?
Yeah.
Then they just found some little nerdy kid who was like, "Oh, you could make a little thing called Bitcoin." They're like, "Yeah, great, let's do that."
Maybe you could be right with that. Anyway, they're my two rants over about the world. I think I might take this break now. I think it's been about an hour.
Go and get your bread.
So 1 hour break. Gonna get a bread. Gonna get another whiskey, and go for a piss.
Oh, all right.
See you in a bit.
In a bit.